You are watching WPTV.
Welcome back to the desk. NFL draft came and went, and Jesse, Alec, Samory, and Ryan are here with their winners and losers, and let's get right into it. Ryan, which team won the NFL draft?
The Washington Redskins won the NFL draft, and here's why. Let's take a look, first of all, at their picks. Dwayne Haskins and Montez Sweat, those first two draft picks, they should have walked out of Nashville as New York Giants, but because of the Giants being the Giants, they did not. Haskins, their future franchise quarterback. Montez Sweat, one of the best pass rushers in the entire draft. Terry McLaurin, a speedy wide receiver who actually was his teammate at Ohio State. That could add for some great chemistry down the line. And Bryce Love, Heisman Trophy runner-up in 2017, could end up being the steal of the draft once he recovers from that ACL injury he had.
Samory?
I'm going to keep it in the NFC, and I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers. Look, the Green Bay Packers, they've been on and off for the past 2 years, and I think they had a very successful draft as they got Rashawn Gary from Michigan, very good pickup, very freak athlete. Darnell Savage, they traded up to get him. Elton Jenkins, and they got Kingsley Keke, and they had a 6-9-1 record last year, and I think they're going to do better this year with defensive pieces that they got.
How about Rashawn Gary? What do you see from him?
Hey, that's a New Jersey guy, so shout out to Rashawn Gary for being from New Jersey, and I think just for Michigan, if you see his stats, he had 9.5 sacks at Michigan in his senior year, and he had 38 tackles. I just think he's going to bring a really aggressive pass rush to the Packers.
Alec?
Well, I'm going to keep it in the NFC as well. I think the other team that won is the Philadelphia Eagles. I think what do you get for a team that literally has everything? Bench support. And that's what they really needed. Their front seven was a little rough last year, so the addition of Sharif Miller is really going to help them out. Dillard and Sanders. Sanders is going to make a great 1-2 punch now in the running back core. Dillard is going to really help out that O-line that may be losing Long. But losing Long in that DN spot will help Miller. But they might also be losing some of their players to retirement, or maybe they're just too old to play anymore. So that'll help out. I think the Eagles are going to be just okay when they get to the season this year. They'll be able to rest some players for the first time in a while, which will really help them get back to that NFC Championship berth maybe that they need from that team, and really need to prove to Carson Wentz, hey, this is your year. You don't win this year, we might have to start looking somewhere else.
Jesse?
You guys got the wrong conference. The AFC, when I'm looking at it, the Buffalo Bills knocked this draft out of the park. When we look at their 4 picks, Ed Oliver at defensive tackle was probably the last star that was left, and he fell right to him. Cody Ford was a lineman that can play all across center, guard, tackle, and he was my favorite to be the first, multi guy that can go off the board. He's so aggressive. Devin Singletary makes LaShawn McCoy expendable for them. That money can come off the board. And then we have Dawson Knox, a blocking and receiving tight end. They were 6-10 last year. Josh Allen is still a rookie, but for what they had and what they needed, the Bills hit on every single position, left to right. I mean, I found no fault in their draft at all.
You okay, Samory?
What?
You're looking a little angrily at it.
Oh, I'm fine.
You're
but
fine?
Buffalo Bills.
We're not saying who's going to be
Buffalo?
We're not saying who's going to be the best team, but as far as just draft class that they brought in, those 4 picks. I mean, that's incredible that they got those in 4 picks. Yeah. They hit on, as far as I'm concerned, that's a hit on every single one of them.
Now moving over to the losers of the draft. Jesse, I think there's an obvious choice, but who do you got?
There's only one team here. There is one team here, and that is the New York Giants. When we look at their 4 picks, Daniel Jones, quarterback out of Duke. We're gonna talk about him in a little bit. Don't worry. Dexter Lawrence. Was the Giants' mantra going into this draft? Oh, a second-round guy, take him in the first, because that's what they did with Dexter Lawrence. And I'm gonna be nice to DeAndre Baker. I think he's the only good pick they made this entire draft. He's the only one I'm gonna be nice to. O'Shane
deserves it.
O'Shane is a run stopper, and Dexter Lawrence is a run stopper. This was a pass rushing draft, and the Giants just said, okay, so third best quarterback on the board, we'll take him first. Third best lineman on the board. I'll be nice to the Giants a little bit. Third best defensive lineman on the board. Yeah, we'll take him in the first round. But the biggest loss, guys, Daniel Jones. Just looking at his stats, 2,674 passing yards and 22 touchdowns. Doesn't sound, that awful until you realize Dwayne Haskins threw for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. Oh, in a harder conference. I mean, what more is there to say? Daniel Jones was the worst pick of the draft, and the Giants completely blew it.
Alec, who do you have?
Well, it's hard to follow up that, really, but if there's another loser in there, it's got to be the Detroit Lions. They really blew their team. I mean, they went 6-10 last year. They really need to make that push from a mediocre team to a playoff team, and they did not do it. From the third time in what seems like of the past 4 years, they've taken on the tight end or the first pick. Tavai, not a great linebacker to pick, like you said. Pass rushing draft, you take a run stopper for some reason. I think the only good pick, they got a wide receiver finally to maybe replace the hole of Golden Tate leaving the team and Megatron no longer being there. But really, they picked 3 defensive players in the top 4 and 1 tight end who probably, due to their track record, probably won't pan out for them. Will probably play for the Colts in 2 years. But, you know, they've drafted 3 tight ends in the past 5 years, and Brandon Pettigrew has not been good. Eric Ebron has been really good for the Colts, not who drafted him. And TJ Hawkinson, I just don't see him being the one to break the streak for them. I'm going to call this a loss to the Lions, and they really need to either fire whoever made these picks or maybe find diamonds in the rough.
Samory?
Now, Jesse, you were talking about the Giants having the worst loss. The Raiders had 3 picks in the first round. This could have been something that catapulted them in the future, and they fumbled the bag. They literally fumbled it. You get Clelin Ferrell. He was the 4th pick, and he could have went in the 2nd round. If, in all honesty, Josh Jacobs, he was a running back. You also could have took him later. They took him with the 24th pick. And John Abram, he was all right. I don't think. Ugh.
He's not a first-round talent.
None of them are.
Ryan, wrap us up here.
Okay, now this is a very unorthodox pick, as Jesse said to me before we started filming. I think the Atlanta Falcons lost this draft. First of all, hear me out. It's a D-line draft, right? Their D-line's at the bottom of the league, and their O-line needs work, and they did fill those voids with Chris Lindstrom and Caleb McGarry with their first 2 picks, even though I see limitations with them. But you need to be competitive for your own sake and for the sake of the other teams in the division. The Saints had the best O-line in the entire league, and they traded their 2nd and 3rd round picks away to get a mediocre offensive lineman in Caleb McGarry, who has a huge lack of length, and I just think that they played it wrong.
So before we go from the NFL draft, Alec, you're leaving us. You're the reason why Soccer Block is what it is. You've done so much for the desk and how to actually produce. You've revolutionized this desk.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that you got your chance this year. I'm so glad to have you as a friend and as a person on the desk, and please don't cry.
Not again. Not
Okay.
this time.
All right,
Don't
good.
do that to me. You tried to make me cry on the first time. We're not doing that again.
That's all for football. We have one more break, then we'll be on ice for the semester with the hockey crew right after this.